Mate, I got some
Oh.
statistics, alright?
Oh.
Okay. In
That's
tournament play, these two players have played 3 times.
Really?
3 times in tournaments. Once was this year in 2022, and that was a best of 1 in the King of the Hill, in the OSC King of the Hill.
Yo.
And ArT beat NightMare 1-0.
There we go. That's definitely a sign as we kick off this grand finals now on Data Under Sea. In
That's not even
the
Disney.
top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner, we of course have our blue Protoss player coming out from the land of South Korea. He is going to be representing Team GP. He is NightMare.
Is that the Rocky theme? You know what's crazy? You know what's crazy, Yaku? When you were about to sing, like whatever song you were thinking of, my brain went to Mulan because you did that last time, and then my brain went to Rocky. And then you did the Rocky theme. I was like, what?
Mulan is just Chinese Rocky.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Data Under the Sea, we have the Polish Protoss player himself. Polish, he's pink, he's Protoss. He's also representing Platinum Heroes. It is ArT. In my brain, I had the image of Sylvester Stallone, mate. And then you started
Getting
the
down
music.
to business.
Oh my god.
Old mate Rocky is getting down to business.
He's getting down to business to defeat the Huns. Is that what he did in Rocky? There you go.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You think about it, they're basically the same movie.
They're the same movie, man.
Ivan
Same movie.
Drago is basically, you know.
Uh-huh. What's his name, Yaku?
What was it like?
Shao Kahn.
You?
Oh no.
Hey, it was M. Bison.
There you go, M. Bison, mate. As things are already popping off, by the way, ArT is going for a proxy rover outside the bases of NightMare. NightMare is scouring the map right now. He goes for the probe scout. He knows that a pylon is missing. A pylon has to be somewhere, and he's looking. He even was scared enough to go for a zealot first.
Now, if you didn't tell me who these players were, but you told me that NightMare and ArT were playing, I would assume that the pink player was NightMare.
Oh my god, exactly.
It is in fact not the case, and NightMare has now been able to scout the Robo no cancel in the end. Will ArT be able to keep this alive?
I mean, this was a late scout, though, so there's plenty of HP on the pylon and on the rovers. The adepts are going to rock up, and it looks like ArT will be able to hold on to this proxy for the time being. We do have some reinforcements on the way, though. Again, NightMare is going to try and shut this down, but it looks like he recognizes he cannot stop it. It is too late. This proxy will survive.
So Mortals are coming out, and NightMare has got to know that, you know, that's what's coming his way. How does he defend against this?
That is the big question here. NightMare, when it comes to tech, he has gateways to work with, and that's it. To be fair, he is working on a 4th gateway, so he's going to have plenty of production to work with. He only has a single Artosis pylon powering everything here at the natural, though, and that is terrifying. That is going to be the target for ArT.
Yeah, the Immortal comes in, and that really clears a path for the rest of ArT's army to... Very nicely done by NightMare here. He activated with only a single stalker, and he's gonna keep the rest of them alive to try to snipe down the Immortal. The Warp Prism goes down with an Adept in it. Could have been worse for ArT, but this was already a nice start to the fight for NightMare.
Oh my god, it's a disaster here for ArT because now the Immortal's going to get focused down, and with the death of that Warp Prism, that means that there's not going to be a second Immortal. We have to have a backup Warp Prism instead, and just like that, ArT has lost all of his momentum.
Wow. NightMare being a little bit aggressive in his attack was exactly what he needed to do. He needed to move forward a little bit. He needed to target down that Immortal and that Warp Prism. It was a risky thing to do, but it worked out big time for him, at least initially, before the second Warp Prism comes in.
Second prism is coming in, and I'm sure ArT is hoping to force in maybe a recall, maybe a warp in back at home. NightMare, he's across the map though, and the wall is not a wall. He's going to be dishing out so much counter damage as well.
He can even depower those gateways before recalling. He doesn't even need to recall though. He warps in back home.
Yeah.
ArT, he is now supply capped. One immortal is being pumped out, but the Stalkers, they're forced to come. They're forced to retreat. They're forced to go back into the Warp Prism. NightMare has nothing. ArT, sorry, has nothing defending here back home.
He has nothing at home. He's forced to recall, and the recall will keep his mineral line alive. He does also have an immortal here. Nice force field. There is no blink, by the way, so these Stalkers of NightMare are forfeit. There's a recall, and the recall saves one Stalker.
Yeah, but that's not exactly much, if you ask me. Guardian Shell still available on this immortal. It's not off. It's not on cooldown.
We got the prism. No.
Almost gets caught out in the middle of the map. Second immortal for ArT, thankfully, is able to pop out, but this Robo is going to get depowered in the end. I really like how selective NightMare is being with his target firing, but he definitely overextended in that fight too much. He walked into two immortals.
Mate.
That's a lot of damage.
He walked into two immortals and four stalkers just evaporated there from the side of NightMare. So ArT, even though he has fumbled a little bit here this game, like with the power of these two immortals, he can come back. He can definitely bounce back as he does slip into the main base. He has to be careful though not to lose his prism.
Yeah, definitely looking to depower these gateways for a little bit. Very good zoning from NightMare, but once again, it feels like he is giving these immortals a few too many free shots, a few too many volleys.
Oh, exactly, but across the map, NightMare's also in the main base of ArT. No immortals to be spoken of here. He has a couple of sentries, but again, they're coming up a ramp into the army of NightMare. ArT was, oh my god, just barely able to keep the immortal alive.
Literally 1 HP on that Warp Prism. I don't know how little health that immortal has. ArT did repower the Robo. This is the absolute MVP right now for ArT. Not just the Robo, but also the Probe providing the pylons to power the Robo.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, both units barely were able to survive, but NightMare, he's coming on in, and again, it's not going to take too much to take down these units. ArT has to evacuate. He has to give up this position once again. He now has two immortals, but oh, he's playing with fire right now. Oh my god.
He wants to juggle.
He does. Why'd you stop
so you
talking?
think you're a clown? So you think you're a clown? Well then, let's juggle.
Let's juggle, mate. Let's go. We have, oh my god, so many sentries with the army as well. I mean, again, sentries actually are amazing in this position just because there's no blink. So it is definitely possible to catch out this army.
Yeah, ArT is waiting for that one false move that NightMare can definitely make right now. That one little click that will allow the entire Stalker count of NightMare to just get cut in two.
Oh god,
the juggling is coming down.
Yeah, speaking of getting cut in two, there we go. The Prism Micro is going to be good enough here to catch out a couple of those Stalkers, but NightMare bought so much time, he warps in another wave of units back at home, and oh my god, the Prism
will go down. A lot of Stalkers have gone down as well, but like you said, NightMare, slowly but surely, he's building up his gateway army count. He got these adepts to try to deal with the sentries. Shading on in. He really wants to target fire those down.
Yeah, exactly. Sentries are here for... Sorry, the adepts are here for the sentries. The stalkers for everything else. ArT knows how vulnerable he is. He's going to back off. He repowered that Robo again, by the way.
At this point, you know, just keep a prism there permanently.
Yeah, why not?
Powering
why not?
it.
Oh god, but the prism has been remade. He's moving out across the map. Does end up recalling back home because you know what? ArT is expanding. ArT, look at that probe count. It's honestly looking pretty healthy. He doesn't have to be aggressive anymore.
Yeah, he's got a very comfortable 8 worker lead on NightMare, which is insane for a mirror matchup. NightMare himself, he needs to catch on to this. He needs to realize that ArT isn't being aggressive anymore.
Yeah, right now NightMare's a little bit in the dark right now. He's actually coming back home to deal with this prism. I think he's, again, respecting this a little bit too much. The adepts rock in, and they actually will be able to not scout the natural.
Unfortunate.
Mate, NightMare's falling apart.
Yeah. It's unraveling.
Waking up?
Yeah. Wait, in this scenario, who's waking up though?
Looks like ArT is waking up from the nightmare right now as he has been able to successfully defend. Look at that probe count. Because of the adept micro, so many probes of nightmare did go down, and now he's going to be the one forced all in.
Yeah, he needs to do something a little bit insane. He needs to take a little bit of a risk here. These adepts, not the best use of them. ArT is able to keep most of his sentries alive.
Yeah, and now what do we have to work with? So nightmare, again, only has gateways. He's working on his robo. He doesn't have blink. He doesn't have a Twilight Council. Meanwhile, ArT, because of his economy, he's getting everything he needs. He has blink about to finish up. Robo, Dark Shrine as well. Like, he's just getting ahead in every aspect.
Yeah, meanwhile, nightmare barely has detection. He's going to have one observer, and I mean, it's not like the rest of his army can really stack up to the gateway count or that ArT is throwing down.
Yeah, like, again, like nightmare, unfortunately, he was just tunnel visioning a little bit too much. It took him too long to get his own expansion up and running. It took him too long to probe up. I think he just assumed that ArT was going to be one base all in and perpetually be one base all in. He was probably overconfident just because he killed the first immortals and the first prisms as well. So I don't blame him for behaving in that manner, but like it's costing him.
And that was 100% what it was from the side of nightmare. And now, I mean, how does he equalize?
That's a good question. I mean, we have a robo. If I was Nightmare, I mean, it would make sense if Nightmare just went straight for a bait and straight for disruptors, right? Like that, like
yeah.
Either disruptors or DTs, both are great ways to come back. They're obviously risky and they rely a lot on your opponent like, messing up a little bit. But in this kind of scenario, you have to do something.
Yeah, that definitely relies a lot on Nightmare stabilizing his economy first, though. He is slowly catching up when it comes to the probe count.
Yeah, he is catching up with the probes, but what about the army? That is what I'm concerned about here, as ArT is going to force his way up this ramp. Nightmare is going to try and hold on. He does have a couple of sentries for those force fields, but mate, Blink is done.
Yeah, Blink was done a long time ago, and not to mention the amount of sentries that ArT himself has. Blink isn't done yet for Nightmare, and even without all of that, ArT is just finding a way to brute force his way through. That is how much more powerful his army is. GG, ArT takes game number 1 in not so typical ArT fashion, I will say.
Wow, GG, well played. Congratulations to ArT for taking the first game. Things were looking real shaky for him at the start. Like, mate, for him to lose his Immortal and his Prism, like, oh my god, that was devastating. But we saw how much he was able to accomplish with only 2 Immortals. Remember when he was juggling in the main base, and you could see that Nightmare was trying to target down, trying to focus down, trying to focus down that prism, and so many free shots were going off on the army of Nightmare. Like, again, like ArT was just so efficient.
He absolutely was. And like you said, I think it goes back to that idea of, I don't think Nightmare really realized how dedicated Nightmare really was to that. He was getting an economy behind all that. He was more than willing to just repower his robo, just remake the warp prisms if need be, if it means he can chip away even further on that stalker count. And with that, we're going into game number 2. We've completed map bingo, and I'm gonna need 1 second.
All good, man. It'll take all the time you need. As Yaku was saying, the bingo has been completed. We are getting the final map here in the map pool. Stargazers comes out as game number 2. The hell with the vetoes. that's what I want to know. As again, both players got 1 veto each, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Stargazers, we have the South Korean Protoss player himself, currently down in this series in the grand finals, representing his brand new team. Can he bring it back? It is NightMare. And spawning in the top right hand corner of Stargazers, we have the Polish Protoss player himself, the #1 seed in today's tournament, representing Platinum Heroes, showing that he's #1 seed for a reason, up 1-0 in the grand finals. It is ArT. Grace under pressure is all I have to say for ArT. I mean, it was ArT to see how well he was microing his Prism, his Immortals after the initial after the initial blunders, how much pressure was on him to deal all of that damage, and he was still able to do it. He was still able to pull it off. And yeah, that was a pretty clutch win there over NightMare. But that was only game 1, and we have at least 2 more games ahead of us. And when we're on a map like Stargazers, mate, anything could happen.
I agree.
Oh. Anything, mate. So far, pretty standard openers. I say pretty standard. ArT goes for a 2-gate opener. Meanwhile, NightMare is looking to go for a 1-gate expand variation. Oh my god.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh. He's actually mining out those minerals.
Yeah, so NightMare going to be a little bit greedier here. Because of this greed, like, he's forced to get a full wall off, he's forced to throw down the pylon. This is a bit of a tell for ArT, because he sees that there isn't a second gateway, so he knows that NightMare is looking to take a faster base.
Yeah, and how is ArT going to be able to punish that? Obviously, if... No, that doesn't work this early on. I was gonna say, obviously Blink straight into the pocket base is a possibility, but yeah, he's not gonna be getting Blink for a very long time.
Yeah, like, this is one of the weird maps where typically if we have this kind of gate expand, the player that opened up 2-gate is gonna want to punish that. But because it's a pocket base, it's that much harder to punish. So ArT may just have to try and catch up economically instead. Or he could just ramp up the aggression and take advantage of the fact that he's going to be ahead in terms of the production.
Yeah, of course. He is going to be on a bit of a timer, though, if he does decide to do it that way. Like you said, NightMare already has a little bit of a lead. So instead, ArT is going to be trying to expand and catch up as quickly as possible.
Yeah, exactly. He does delay his expansion a little bit by going for a Stargate first, so he's still going to be looking to be a little bit aggressive, but as you said, catch up in terms of the economy, hopefully kill a couple of probes with his Oracle to even things up as he goes for a hallucinated scout, just to get confirmation that there is in fact an expansion.
Yeah, it wasn't a bamboozle or anything.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be bamboozled. Not here, not now in game 2. He also sees the Twilight Council, so he knows that he doesn't have to worry about any kind of Oracle slipping in, so he doesn't need a shield battery. He doesn't need to keep anything in his mineral line. There shouldn't be any kind of that form of aggression.
Do you see the Forge, though? Because this, I think, really signals how aggressive NightMare wants to play this out.
Definitely. Unfortunately, the Forge was thrown down after the hallucination expired, so ArT is a little bit in the dark, but the Oracle is looking to not just deal damage, but also scout that tech.
Yeah, throw in a couple of reveals if need be. Otherwise, just float on in and get a good eye on all the tech that NightMare has thrown down. It's prioritizing probe kills for a sec, and I don't think he has seen the Forge yet.
Yeah, he doesn't get into the main base. Unfortunately, he's trying to find some damage at the natural, trying to confirm the probe count as well. At least get eyes on that. And oh, it looks like he will not get a single probe.
Yeah, that's kind of the weakness of only going for a single Oracle. It's not as committed, but you're also probably not going to do as much damage.
Exactly. Meanwhile, ArT has a relatively strong ground army here. Looking at the production, he did go all the way up to 3 gates. So with these 3 gates, he has a lot of stalkers to work with. He does have the army supply advantage. NightMare is going for a 3rd base, and this does get scouted by ArT.
And now ArT has to be looking to punish this. He throws down a 4th gateway.
Yeah.
He wants to say, greed, it's a sin, boy. I'm going to be punishing you for that. I'm going to be canceling that 3rd base of yours. But behind all of this, NightMare, he himself hasn't neglected his army. He has Blink much, much sooner. And more importantly, he's going to have +1 available to him.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing here. Like, we do see that ArT is up to 4 gates, and we do see NightMare looking to match him. He is going to be a little bit delayed. There is a window here where ArT has an army supply advantage, and he can punish the 3rd. But even if he forces a cancel or even a kill at the 3rd, it won't matter that much. He needs to do more damage.
This one Stasis Ward is giving me anxiety, like. Good targeting down on that shield battery. ArT definitely has a lot of momentum behind his push.
Yeah, exactly. ArT, he is ahead when it comes to the Stalker count, just barely. He also has that that stasis trap to fall back to if he needs to.
Yeah, Blink finish up for both players, but now NightMare has finished +1. I like this NightMare not overextending at all. He just wants to make sure that his third base is alive and he's able to mine from it.
And ArT accepts defeat. Oh, as NightMare even spotted the stasis trap, ArT goes for a third base behind this. He's going for his own forge, so he's going to be playing catch up in the economy and in the upgrades.
Nice Blink into the pocket base though. Unfortunately, not enough here for NightMare to be able to, or for ArT to be able to take out any probes or get much economic damage, but he distracts NightMare for a little bit.
Yeah, he's trying to bounce between the bases. He's trying to pull apart his opponent and find a way in, but so far he just hasn't been able to do so. And oh, we even have the stasis trap being triggered here by one single Stalker. And just NightMare is he's just showing like how much he can get away with, how greedy he can be and still be able to defend regardless.
Yeah, it's a this is a very safe setup right now for NightMare. There's not that much ground to cover between these three bases. He can just go back and forth as long as he wants. Even has a couple of shield batteries, so he doesn't have to commit too many units to the defense.
Oh, exactly. Meanwhile, we do see that ArT was able to pick up 4 probes. So again, and whatever it takes, whatever little damage he can get will add up over time. And he's trying to even things up here, but again, he's still behind when it comes to those workers. +2 already on the way here for ArT. We have charge for both players. But if ArT is going to be able to, like, again, keep NightMare at home, then maybe he can catch up.
Maybe. I think he has realized that the time has passed, however. NightMare has built up enough of an army that he can break out of just about any contain. And with that, NightMare takes his 4th.
Yeah, NightMare just recognizing how much he can get away with, recognizing that ArT backed off. Why not take a 4th base and get further ahead? Worker counts have evened up, but again, I do think that NightMare for the most part has finished when it comes to his economy, and now we have another gateway explosion. We have upgrades finishing up. He's looking to hit a +2 timing here with his Blink Stalkers. He hasn't teched up further into disruptors or anything like that, or even Archons. It is a pure gateway army, but it's a pretty impressive gateway army.
Yeah, it's a very powerful one at that. And when both players are still on gateway tech, the player of the higher numbers is the one that's going to win.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's just how it goes sometimes for mirror matchups. We need another X factor to come into play here. I think probably the biggest thing that ArT has to his advantage is maybe there's a world where these chargelets run in and they get stasis, right? Like maybe if one good stasis trap goes off, then ArT can make up for his lack of army supply because he is down in that army supply quite a bit. He also has defender's advantage. He has an overcharge available, so he can still take a fight.
Yeah, you know what they say about stasis wards? They're the non-lethal disruptors.
There you go. Uh-oh.
So only takes one, but speaking of only taking one, sometimes it only takes one warp prism to force a mass recall back in the main base and distract the main army a little bit as well. NightMare starting to push in. ArT is completely split apart right now. He has to defend both his main and his natural at the same time. That stasis ward, unfortunately, was not the only one that NightMare that ArT needed. Needs a couple more than that.
Yeah, exactly. It was a half-decent stasis trap, and you know what? The Zealots in the main base of ArT have been cleaned up, but now he's playing catch-up. He's trying to chase this army down. He's losing probe after probe. 9 probes do end up falling. With the defender's advantage, maybe he can take this fight, but the charge Zealots do come into play, and they just provide such a massive buffer for the army of NightMare.
Yeah, Stalker v Stalker, I think ArT was trading about as efficiently as he could have, but yeah, in the end, that's just way too much Protoss for Protoss to deal with. GG, NightMare's going to be able to equalize the series, even up this series, 1-1.
GG again. NightMare on Stargazers just being greedy, just opening up with a gate expand. It was a little bit of a later gate expand because he had to mine out those mineral patches, but he opened up greedy and he was able to get away with it. Oh boy, and that's just again the map coming into play. Stargazers, yeah. It's a bit of a weird one, and it can cause some of these games.
Yeah, I love that we're able to see a weird map, and I love that we were able to see a weird map be played on weirdly. Well, was that weird? Yeah, like I said, it definitely came into play. All of the features of the map came into play. And speaking of map features, we're going to another map that has a lot of them.
Yeah, exactly. You know, NightMare making full use of that pocket base on Stargazers, which means we're tied up 1-1. We're going into game number 3. It's still quite early to call how this series is going to go, how it's going to play out, especially because game 3 is going to be on Cosmic Sapphire.
A map that favors Protoss, but which one?
Good question.
We'll find out. As we spawn into Cosmic Sapphire, we're in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the bottom right-hand corner. We, of course, have that blue Protoss player coming out from the land of South Korea, representing Team GP. He is, according to chat here, this is probably a mistake. No, I refuse to read that. He is NightMare.
The hell was in chat? And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Cosmic Sapphire, we have the pink Polish Protoss player himself representing Platinum Heroes. It is ArT.
I'm not sure it's safe, Light, to keep Niche and Steel in the same room.
Oh no, what did they say? Are you talking about, looks like ArT is becoming NightMare's worst nightmare, or NightMare's worst ArT. What?
Yeah. It's, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that makes sense.
Shaking my head, man. Shaking my
That's
head.
a Mitch.
Oh god. But yeah, we'll see how this goes out. Again, now that we are back to the more standard maps, both players are mirroring each other. We see 2 gate openers for both of our Protoss.
Yeah, the only real difference we have right now is in the Sim City. NightMare looks to be a little safer here. He, of course, has forcing a bit more of a choke point just in case, but at the same time, well, actually, I don't know. I think you would need high ground vision, wouldn't you, to attack that Cyber Core?
Yeah, you would. So both players just changing things up when it comes to that Sim City. Outside of that, though, what are the first units going to be here? Go down. It's too late. Yaku, what's it going to be?
Stalkers for NightMare, Adepts for ArT, and we see exactly why he was saving his gas for something that flies.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen this time and time again here with the Proxy Stargate. We're going to be seeing an Oracle and Adepts hit at the same time. So hyper aggression coming out from ArT. NightMare is a little bit in the dark. He does have a probe out across the map. And again, the goal of this probe is to get a scout on what the first 2 units are going to be, so he knows what he needs to get ready for.
Yeah. Hasn't quite been able to scout them just yet, though. I mean, he got a little bit of an idea, I guess, when he saw the production being delayed. But for now,
yeah, I mean,
he's just going to be scouting around.
Yeah, NightMare, he saw that a pylon was missing, and the probe does come across the proxy. He knows about the Oracle that's going to be coming across the map, and with this Stalker, he will also find the Adepts.
Yeah, the Adepts, I mean, they'll be able to take out this probe, but it shouldn't give the Stalker too much trouble, especially these 2 Stalkers. Yeah. NightMare making a bit of a decision right now. Does he go back to his mineral lines to defend against the Oracle, or does he want to try to depower the Stargate still? Actually, he can do both. He has plenty of Stalkers.
Yeah, porque no los dos made as the Stargate is going to get depowered. We do have a full wall off here at the main base as well. The Adepts will not find a way in, but ArT is actually going to try and force his way in here with the help of the Oracle.
He forces a cancel over there, but 2 more Stalkers pop out. You know, maybe ArT can get a couple of probes here. That's exactly what he gets, but no more than 3.
Yeah, only 3 probes for his troubles, and I don't know if that was worth it, especially because he was able to scout. But NightMare opened up with 3 gateways and a robo. He is looking to be aggressive here on one base. He's going to go across the map with vanilla Stalkers, and I don't know if ArT is going to have enough at home to defend.
All right, 1 force field and a dream. Let's go.
Yeah, we can see ArT panicking a little bit. He's getting a second shield battery. He's pumping out Immortals ASAP right now. Again, this is all the right moves. These are all the right calls to defend your main base off of one base. And once NightMare sees this, he has to make a choice. Does he break his opponent, or does he just expand behind this?
Yeah, a smarter move, or the safer move, I should say, is to just try to contain ArT on that one base and then get expansion behind that. But at the same time, there's a risk of being a little less of having fewer defenses. If ArT does decide to go for the counterattack.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, NightMare, he dips on in. He does confirm the Immortal back at home. At the same time, we do have a stasis trap being thrown down in the middle line of NightMare, but he does react in time. 3 probes do get caught, though.
Yeah, it's actually pretty big right now. NightMare already in a worker deficit. Having even fewer resources to mine. I mean, look at that. ArT basically has double the mineral mining income of NightMare.
Yeah, pretty much, mate. But can he hold on? NightMare trying to pull apart ArT, trying to find a way up this ramp into the main base. So far, 1 base versus 1 base. No one has budged. No one has tried to expand, not yet. And ArT, like, he's actually going to be able to take control of his own natural base location. Uh-oh. But is he ever extending?
Immortal, man. He may be. He's not. He's fine.
He's perfectly fine. He pushes all of this away. Thankfully for him, NightMare's army is kind of split up, but no, he's going to be going for a bit of a counterattack instead.
It's really interesting that NightMare, instead of collapsing on top of the army, instead of trying to go for decisive battles or anything like that, instead he decides, I'm going to be a little bit sneakier about how I utilize my army. I'm going to split it up and try to get some damage while you're pushing across the map.
Yeah. And mate, that Immortal came out just in time, by the way. The Immortal with the power of 2 shield batteries and an overcharge, NightMare cannot push up that ramp. So now these Stalkers are across the map doing absolutely nothing. They have to come back home, and that means NightMare's only working with half his army.
It really is. NightMare trying to juggle as best he can, and he does get a couple of good force fields. So worried about that sentry for a second.
Exactly, but you know what? NightMare, the rest of his army has returned back home. He's going to be going for a full surround.
What's a sandwich for 3 pieces of bread? That's essentially what NightMare's doing right now. Big Mac, yep. The Protoss Big Mac is in effect right now. For NightMare, he completely crushes his army. And with that, he really doesn't have too much to worry about for at least a little while. I mean, the Warp Prism is still on his side of the map. ArT's Warp Prism, I mean.
Yeah, the Prism is still here. The Oracle is still here as well. As we all saw, ArT did overextend. He was behind when it came to the production. He knew that he would have had the lower army supply, but he just wanted to deal some damage across the map. He does have a faster base. Oh, decent stasis trap going off, even catching the Stalker.
Yeah, I did not think that the stasis ward would have enough range on that, but apparently it does. And this is all keeping NightMare on his side of the map. NightMare, I don't think, has any idea that ArT has expanded. If he did, 100% he would have gone for the counterattack, but he's not sure. Yeah. That's why he's getting his own later expansion, and he's staying all the way back home.
Oh, exactly, but you know what? The Warp Prism does move out to get a little bit of scouting information, does get 4 probes. Looking at the vision of NightMare, he still hasn't seen the natural base, so he's not fully aware if his opponent is going all in on 1 base or not. But seeing the production and seeing the main, like, he can piece it together, and he will eventually come across this natural.
There's no anti-air here. That's actually kind of funny. NightMare will confirm the natural base.
Yeah, he confirms it in the end, and you know what? Because of that, ArT is going to have a decent economy here. He's still trying to catch up, though, and NightMare, his own natural, finishes up as well. ArT does have the advantage when it comes to the overall Immortal count, so maybe he can make use of that, but I doubt he's going to move out anytime soon, at least until Blink finishes.
Yeah, that's really going to be the next stage attack for him. Both players getting get blinks. It's so funny that 1 Warp Prism is keeping both armies on their side of the map.
Yeah, exactly. But finally, we have a recall. There we go. The Warp Prism Wizard is going to safely return back home. And we're in an interesting place where things have kind of reset after a very chaotic start to the game. NightMare is clearly still ahead when it comes to the workers, though, so he does maintain that lead at least. But outside of that, there are other things going on. ArT goes for a faster forge. If the game goes on long enough, you know, he will have those upgrades working for him instead.
Yeah, and in a Stalker v Stalker fight, those upgrades can really make the difference between life and death.
Yeah, definitely. We do see NightMare even investing even further when it comes to the defense. We have a shield battery on the way. He's looking to go and expand and take a 3rd base. Likewise, so is ArT. So again, both players mirroring each other. The big difference is, of course, is the lack of forge for NightMare, but NightMare is making up for that in more gameways.
You know, the Immortals do get dropped over here. And it pulls the entire attention of NightMare back a bit.
Yeah.
Blink isn't quite done yet, so NightMare still needs to be a bit careful with how he maneuvers this, but brilliant flanking with these Stalkers will be the end of that Warp Prism and the end of those 2 Immortals. NightMare did lose a lot of probes behind all of that. ArT able to catch up again, but yeah, that's definitely a very costly harassment here.
Yeah, I was about to praise ArT because he was doing a surprising amount of damage. He killed 8 probes for that Immortal harass, and I assumed he was going to be able to escape, but he was punished for having that low HP Warp Prism. He was punished for sticking around a little bit too long. He wasn't really paying attention to that drop a little bit too much, and losing 2 Immortals like that. Earlier I was talking about his advantages, and one of them was the Immortal count. Now he doesn't have that anymore.
Yeah, it's essentially been reset. And meanwhile, while ArT is researching +1 and Charge, which is going to help out a lot with the Gateway Army, NightMare gets a gold base and gets a Robo Bay.
Mate, he's crazy. So he's going to try and catch up on the upgrades. He's going all the way to Disruptors. He's double expanding right now, getting his throat up and running. And ArT has no idea. Oh my god, like, why would she ever scout the bottom left-hand corner of the map? NightMare, he's looking to try and get away with this.
Well, you don't scout the bottom left-hand corner of the map. You build a base there.
That's true. Ay. So far, NightMare just posturing outside the base. I'm sure he doesn't want to pull the trigger yet. I'm sure he wants to first actually make use of this gold base. He can even recall if he really wanted to. Oh my god. Again, will ArT ever check? Will he even need to? Is he going to try and push out on 3 bases instead? I mean, +1 is now done.
Yeah, he's got a very nice advantage when it comes to the infantry. Like you said, at +1, but also the fact that he's getting his higher tech units a little bit quicker than NightMare. Archons make all the difference when there aren't any Disruptors out, but as I say that, Disruptors begin producing.
Yeah, NightMare's even going for a second rover for double Disruptor production. I'm really worried here. ArT is missing a window of opportunity. The longer this goes on, NightMare, he's going to make use of the gold, and he's also going to be ahead in those Disruptors. But it looks like ArT is going to push out soon. Here comes that Prism. As soon as that Prism comes out, he's going to be pushing out across the map.
And it's coming out soon.
Oh boy, now the question becomes, can ArT break this army? Can he break this base with the army that he has? I mean, Chargers aren't going to do too much because we have all those Archons, but what about the Immortals? What about those big Stalkers?
What about those Disruptors?
True.
First handful of Zealots do charge on forward. Disruptors are being used very, very conservatively. NightMare knows he has to make the most of it. Gets an Archon and damages another. Not too bad.
Yeah, exactly. ArT taking a great start to the engagement, but now that we have 3 Disruptors pushing into this army is going to be so difficult to pull off. We have so many Novas ready and waiting. ArT going to just rotate around. He's looking for a 4th base. Hold on, you're still on 3 bases. This is good for me, right? If only he knew.
Well, if it was true, it'd be great for him.
Yeah, ArT is taking a 4th base behind this. Again, he's just looking for any base, any way to push in here, and he's just completely unaware that that gold is just fully saturated and helping NightMare out so much.
Nice couple of Stalkers caught in the stasis ward though, but the Oracle goes down in the end. That's gonna be the end of the stasis harass here for ArT.
Yeah,
that's for ArT! The Warp Prism goes out immediately. A very decisive blink here for NightMare, and now these Disruptors, man, they're doing such a good job of zoning out the rest of the army.
Exactly, the Novas go off, they connect with everything that they need to. There's still a couple of Archons remaining, but the Novas are just a little bit too good. So what if ArT is up in upgrades compared to the 2-1 of what NightMare has? It doesn't matter. NightMare just has the numbers because of the economy, because of the tech. We see that ArT is trying to transition into Phoenixes, which is a good response, but I don't know if he has enough time.
Yeah, he only has a single. Okay, actually he has 2 Stargates right now to work with, and he's chronoing them out as quickly as possible. There is a point, however, with Phoenixes where you reach diminishing returns. It's entirely possible to build too many of them in a PvP. Don't tell Reddy I said that, though.
I would hope that he knows as well. But yeah, like, Phoenixes are great at just shutting down the Disruptors, shutting down the Prism, shutting down the Immortals. Oh god, but can he muster up enough of them in time? I mean, he has a decent count so far, don't get us wrong. But here we go, the first Novas are going off. Up!
There's no blink with this army, but a very nice retreat and split right at the end there for ArT. Archlet starting to converge on top of the Stalkers.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? The Phoenixes have all been taken out. The kiting has been a little bit too good here for NightMare. We have a lot of chargelets coming in. I love the fact that he's going mass chargelets because it's abusing the fact that NightMare doesn't have any Archons. But those Novas, though, like, that's the like, how do you push in? How do you do it?
Well, you can definitely use Phoenixes. I think ArT was using them really, really well to disable the Novas for a second there. But as you were saying, NightMare had so much room to maneuver back to. He was able to just pick off every single Phoenix that was starting to gravitate on those Novas. ArT needs a bit of time to remake them. In that time, NightMare is getting Colossus to deal with the Chargelets, and he's even getting Blink DTs. Because why the hell not? He has a gold base. He can do whatever he wants economically.
Yeah, like, he can do whatever the hell he wants, and what he decides to do with all his money is make a wave of DTs to roll on in. Oh, Colossus are coming out, as you were saying. There's Extended Thermal Lance as well. And ArT just has no idea. I mean, he's doing a great job at just holding on to his 4 bases, and he's taking a 5th. Like, if he's able to weather the storm, he's going to be okay. There is definitely a chance for him to come back in this game. But he's moving out, and NightMare is pushing in.
He's pushing in. He's maxed out. Those DTs are wreaking havoc in the fringe bases. Well, ArT knows it's going to be difficult to engage the rest of this army when there's that many Disruptors and that many Colossus out.
Yeah, exactly. He's
that many Stalkers.
Yeah, he's gonna try those. I mean, the Phoenixes are doing what they can. They pick up whatever Disruptors they can, but the Novas still go off anyway. The Colossus are going ham on the army. The Immortals are pushing through, but it's just not going to be enough. NightMare takes game number 3.
Finds himself on match point. And I'm not gonna lie, like, when I saw all those Novas get sent out on top of ArT's army, I thought, there's a very real possibility that some of these go off on NightMare's own army. But that didn't happen in the end. So, GG, we are going into game number 4? 4 now.
Yes.
I can math.
We are going into game number 4. GG, well played. Again, NightMare just getting away with so much that game when it came to his expansions, when it came to his tech. I'm sure that if ArT was aware of them, he would have been able to punish them, but alas, you know, there was no reason for him to scout that bottom left-hand corner of that map.
Yeah. Only to get a gold base himself, but unfortunately for ArT, this was one game he decided to be a bit more honorable.
Yeah, but there is no honor in PvP, mate. That's just that's not how it goes. We flip coins here, okay? Shaking my head, and I look forward to this because for the second time tonight, we're gonna be flipping some coins on Waterfall.
Yeah. It's definitely a rare occurrence that we see this map twice in one tournament, but at least it makes a little bit more sense in this matchup. It makes a bit more sense to see it not vetoed in the PvP compared to a TVZ. And TVZ, that was the best of 3, so, you know, they had a lot of vetoes. It's like, you know. Anyway, enough about that. We are now going to continue our best of 5 grand finals on Waterfall. We're in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the bottom left-hand corner. We have our blue Protoss player coming down from the land of Korea. He is 1 map away from winning another Sparkling Tuna Cup championship. I do not have the stats on hand to see how many he's won thus far. Representing Team GP, he is NightMare.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Waterfall, we have the pink Polish Protoss player himself representing Platinum Heroes down in the series, but not out. Not yet. It is ArT.
I was about to wonder if we'll see another proxy on this map, just because it is something that ArT has shown he's very capable of, and because Waterfall isn't a bad map to proxy on, but I guess not. Not by either player for the time being.
Yeah, I mean, we do have ramps here at our natural bases, so both players are going for gate expands, or at least they're trying to go for gate expands. We'll see if they can pull it off, as both players are trying to stop each other with their pesky probes, trying to force out some zealots, trying to force out, every action here and delay that nexus.
And wouldn't you know it, both of them have reacted the exact same way. The zealots now being pumped out. Nexus being delayed by so long.
Yeah, exactly, and there we go. Because the Nexus has been delayed, NightMare decides to throw down tech first before the base. ArT was able to get his Nexus up and running though, so we do have a little bit of a difference here between our two players.
Yeah, ArT should be able to get a very substantial lead economically at the start, especially since he scouted this Stargate. He should be able to defend a little bit better from harass, but just because you are able to defend doesn't mean you don't lose a couple of probes.
Yeah, like ArT has some options here available to him. One, he knows that NightMare should be expanding at some point here, so he just has to get ready for the Oracle. Already shield battery being thrown down here back at home for ArT. He should be getting a couple Stalkers as well. He also has the option, if he went for his own Stargate, to go for a Phoenix. Speaking of, NightMare actually goes for a Phoenix as well.
Huh. Okay. Not entirely what I was expecting, but this is getting me a little bit excited.
Yeah.
Rallying them across the map right now, so he wants to scout and eventually, I imagine, harass as well with them.
An interesting choice, by the way. Like, I guess he knows that he got scouted, so the likelihood of his Oracle doing damage is pretty low, if you are able to respect your opponent and recognize that they will be able to defend against it. So instead, he goes for early Phoenixes. Over time, they will be able to get more value, and initially, they're not going to do any damage, but they will be able to get a full scatter.
Yeah, if it weren't for that one Stalker testing the structural integrity of that Phoenix, I may have thought he lost it for a second, thought that it was a fluke instead. But no, he knows it's real. He knows the threat is at hand. Despite that, it's a little bit tricky to defend against Phoenixes. You need to figure out how you want to split up your Stalker force.
Yeah, but the Stalkers are already split up. Again, I think maybe NightMare just showed his hand a little bit too early, revealing his first Phoenix. But it may not matter because he's rocking up with the rest of his gateway units as well. He wants to force his way into the natural base and try and break through, but oh, he gets denied.
It's like, this is not for harass.
And now ArT, like, he's honestly done really well for himself in the early game here. He's been able to deflect all kinds of aggression. The Phoenixes still haven't dealt any damage, and I'm sure NightMare feels the pressure on him to do something crazy.
Something like going for a Dark Shrine.
Dark Shrine is on the way. Again, his initial tech opener hasn't done too much. His own Nexus was delayed as well, so he's just behind economically. So DTs are going to be looking to try and even things up, or maybe even end the game. I'm a little bit worried. Sometimes, you know this as well, Yaku. Sometimes PvPs can just end because there's just no detection.
And ArT is on the exact same wavelength as us, as with NightMare, no Stargate for Oracles, no Forge for Cannons, no Robo for Observers. It's just DT versus DT.
Oh.
Okay, there's Robo.
There's the Robo, so ArT will have access to detection, but is it too late? Because the Dark Shrine's about to finish up, and we do have a proxy pylon set up here for NightMare, so the DTs are about to rock up, and that's an Artosis pylon. They could depower this Robo.
He could actually. It's actually very feasible.
Yeah.
His Robo finishes up, and NightMare decides, or ArT, sorry, decides to produce an Immortal or a Warp Prism first. That's going to be even more dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. At the same time, the main army of ArT is pushing out across the map. DTs are here to meet them. They actually move command past the army. The army's going to try and force its way up this natural base, but up ramp into overcharge, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think this makes sense for NightMare. He doesn't want to reveal that he has DTs while he can still defend. If the overcharge, Observer is out, thankfully. Or Observer is being produced, thankfully.
Yeah, and an interesting choice here by NightMare. He actually doesn't warp in across the map using that pylon. He warps in back at home. DTs are here, and they will force a cancel at the third, but they won't do too much else here.
Yeah, I guess this... I don't know, this is something for ArT to keep things on equal footing. He, at the very least, is able to get a pylon, I guess. And delay on that, even though he himself shouldn't be able to get his third anytime soon. I say that, but he sneaks a probe past these stalkers.
Yeah, the probe does sneak past, but he runs into the DTs of ArT. Oh, God.
And of course, NightMare himself wasn't expecting to get DT'd. Very nice body blocking with the stalkers. He's waiting a while for his Oracle to come out. Yeah, but that's still gonna take a while. What? This... Things have been surprisingly mirrored in this game, you know, despite ArT going for the earlier natural base, despite NightMare going for the earlier Stargate. This is it's still shaping up similarly for both players.
Yeah, it really is. It's been pretty chaotic. I do think that ArT has kind of come out ahead here just because he was able to get his third base that much faster compared to his opponents. And we see the wall of tech here. We have charge, we have +1 on the way as well. NightMare just getting his own third up and running. What he lacks in all that tech though, he makes up for in his army. He has quite a number of stalkers, and he still has those phoenixes from earlier. Like, they can still come into play. Their CC can be crucial in a big engagement. And that's exactly what we may be seeing here.
Yeah, disabling even just one of these stalkers can really turn the tides turn the tides in NightMare's favor, potentially. But I like this instead. He chooses to distract the stalkers a little bit, mistimed that, unfortunately it seems. ArT is able to retreat back and defend against the stalkers that NightMare's pushing out with.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? There's a DT in the main base. 2-3 probes go down already. NightMare is forced to react with his entire army.
And there's an observer back home, but no army to actually deal with the DT. Phoenixes? Phoenixes?
Up.
Phoenixes!
I mean, the Phoenixes, they did eventually clean it up and take an extra graviton beam to deal with it in the end. But you know what? It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, he's fine. He's alive. You know?
It's still good. It's still good.
Meanwhile, like you said, ArT is just leveraging his earlier third base into more worker production. He's already saturated on that third. It's up to NightMare to, one, catch back up, but also to try to equalize using his Phoenixes.
Exactly. The Phoenixes just haven't really paid for themselves, let's be honest here. They're going to try and go into the main base, and they were able to get a couple of probe kills earlier, so maybe they can reciprocate. Meanwhile, ArT is pushing out across the map. He is done. He has the upgrade advantage. He has his Archons. He has detection. And, God, there isn't even a shield battery here defensively for NightMare. Oh, wait,
yeah, now it finishes up, though! And with that overcharge, ArT knows he's not going to be able to push in, so he's going to have to wait it out.
Yeah,
at the very least.
He backs off in the end. At the same time, the Phoenixes weren't able to deal any damage across the map either. 6 probes went down, and honestly, I think that's an okay trade already here for ArT, whereas he's still posturing around the outside of that base.
And he wants to hit. Like I said, he's had enough. You know, he knows he has the upgrade advantage. He knows he has quite a big advantage on just about everything. Good catch on that stasis ward. The Archons are now down, however.
The Archons are down, and pushing up into a concave is not going to work out for you. ArT is forced all the way back. He will be able to focus down those Phoenixes in the end, so finally he does deal with them, and he has his own concave on the bottom of this ramp, so NightMare can't engage either. They both are just kind of deflected.
Yeah, I'm definitely starting to worry a little bit for NightMare now, as he has stuck to more of a gateway army, even though he did finish up his Temple Archives. He finished up his Temple Archives, right? Yeah, he did. ArT is sophisticating his army. He is getting his Robo Bay. That was what won NightMare game number 3. So imagine game number 3, except swap the names of the players now.
Yeah, but you know what? ArT did just lose his Warp Prism, so he cannot reinforce any longer, but will he need to? +2 just finishes up now, so he has an even greater upgrade advantage. +2 to +0 of NightMare. We have an Immortal. Without the Prism, ArT, yeah, he can't really push as hard as he would like. There we go. Immediately, it is being rebuilt.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more vulnerable to this. Was that a kill or a cancel?
That's a good question. That was a kill, actually. Oh my god.
Oof. Very nicely done by ArT.
Exactly. Meanwhile, ArT just rotating around once again. There's no reason to just force the issue, by the way, because ArT knows that, hey, he's going to have a second robo. He's going to have disruptor production soon. He's a little bit supply blocked, though, so he actually can't make anything yet.
Yeah, this gives NightMare a little bit of breathing time to try to break out of his contain, maybe get a 4th base, but that ain't happening anytime soon. Not if these stalkers have anything to say about that. Or these DTs either.
Yeah, meanwhile, Blinkless research for NightMare. He's going to go for some DT harass, but the main army's pushing on forward. Again, ArT does have 2 Immortals with this. Oh god, almost gets focused out, does lose 1.
Alright, decent start for NightMare. He's still maintaining that army lead. And his own +1 weapons finished up, so that upgrade advantage for ArT isn't so great at the moment.
Yeah, it isn't as great as it once was. The DT harass is going to force an overcharge. Cannons will be able to hold the line, though, and ArT actually doesn't lose much of anything here at his 4th base.
Yeah, surprisingly, despite DTs being able to one-shot workers. I think that's how it works, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, they were just aggroed onto the cannons instead, so really well done there by ArT. Behind this, again, he's fully saturated on his 4 bases. NightMare still struggling to get his own 4th up and running. He's trying to catch up. We have that Bay on the way, a second robo as well, but ArT shouldn't let NightMare get into this.
And if he has his way, he is not gonna allow NightMare to go into this at all. Cancels the 4th again, and NightMare has decided, I've had enough. I'm going for that base race.
Oh my god. But the preemptive recall, ArT is already here to defend. With disruptors, there's no way to push on in. We have a flanking disruptor, forces a blink out of NightMare. And again, he did force a cancel of the 5th base, but NightMare doesn't even have a 4th.
Yeah, that's math for you. 4 is if I greater than 3, and concaves are much greater than convexes.
God, it is ArT just expanding on the right hand side instead, working on his 5th base again, up 2 bases, up in tech. The scary thing is that NightMare has been able to defend long enough to get his own disruptors out. They're on the horizon, so all it takes is 1, sometimes 2. If he gets them out, maybe he can defend. Ooh.
Yeah, of course, the exact same applies to ArT. No! Those Novas, man. Unfortunately, they miss quite a few units.
They do miss the bulk of the army, but NightMare has just lost so much in the process. He finally has his own disruptors up and running, but will it even matter? The first Nova goes off. We have the blink on forward, and they focus it down.
Very nicely done by ArT. The second Nova will connect, but is it too little too late? There's still a shot for NightMare. I definitely hope so. Not after that shot, however. GG. ArT ties us up 2-2 and takes us all the way to the ace match. Dude.
GG, well played. We are going to the ace match, game number 5. ArT just took a lead fairly early on, was able to hold on to it, getting his bases up and running, shutting down any kind of weird Phoenix harassment, any kind of DT harassment as well. Very, very solid play there from ArT. He was basically in the driver's seat for almost the entire game. And now it all comes down to game 5.
That it does. This series has not disappointed at all so far. But now we have to end it.
Yeah, it has to all come to an end here. Are we going to end up in a dream or a nightmare? We will find out. This is it, the final game of this series.
We're counting down. Whew.
Here we go. Meanwhile, what's that? Go on. Go ahead.
Yep. No. I was trying to fill air.
Well, speaking of filling the air, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Tropical Sacrifice, we have our South Korean pro toss player representing Team GP, the favorite in this entire tournament, the GSL level player, up against the wall. It is NightMare.
And here In the top right-hand corner of the map, starting all the way to the top right-hand corner of Tropical Sacrifice, we have the pink Polish Protoss player from Platinum Heroes, coming out from the land of Poland, and representing Platinum Heroes. He is the other favorite in this tournament, but now, back against the wall, he is ArT.
Oh my god, and his opponent has no chill. He goes for a proxy pylon. ArT is looking, by the way, he is looking for proxies on the right-hand side of the map, but he missed it. He missed it at the third.
How?
Ah.
How? That probe was right in the face of the pylon.
Oh my.
Apparently that was a good vision.
Exactly. He runs past the pylon. NightMare is going for a proxy gateway, looking to ramp up that aggression, feigning a gate expand.
Wow.
But ArT
has no chill.
I think he wants to go for his own proxy, puppy.
This is what I wanted when I saw we had a PvP final slate.
Oh my god. Here we go. The first Zelda is going to be on the way again. NightMare has to sell the story. He has to pretend as if he wants to take a base. He wants to expand. He's making that Zelda as well. Meanwhile, ArT is kind of setting himself up for a proxy Stargate.
Yeah, a little too far away for a robo or a gateway. That's a lot of ground to cover. And of course, the good thing here for ArT is that there shouldn't be much anti-air back at home since he's waiting for that Cybercore to finish up.
Yeah, this should be a red flag right here, right now. ArT rocks up, the Zealot popped out, but where's the Zealot? The Zealot isn't here. Why is the Zealot across the map? Just like that, we do see ArT pumping out his own Zealot as well. He has a proxy Stargate, but that's not going to help. Like, he needs everything at home to defend.
He really does. I love this pylon being thrown out in the middle of the wall here for ArT. Then we're gonna help out a bit in the Sim City. We have one Zealot versus one Stalker versus one Zealot versus one Stalker.
Ooh. Exactly, both Zealots end up falling in the end. It looks like ArT is going to be able to shoot first. He has a shield battery on the way, a second shield battery as well. He hasn't made use of his Stargate yet. And NightMare, oh god, actually ArT's still working on his own Stargate. He's throwing down as many shield batteries as possible.
And this will definitely help out. They are within range of the Stalkers. That's NightMare. That's NightMare.
That's NightMare Stargates. I mean, sorry, shield
batteries.
That's
NightMare shield batteries. What? He let that pylon finish up.
Oh
I thought he canceled that.
He let the pylon finish. The shield batteries are going to finish up as well. NightMare, he just has more production. He just has more units, and he's breaking through.
Yes, I can't believe this probe is still alive and the shield batteries finish up. It's continuing to keep the probe alive. Okay, not any longer. But now we have 3 more shield batteries on the way.
Yeah, but you know what? These shield batteries, one by one, they are being focused out. The pylon is going to fall. That's going to depower the one gateway here for ArT. He needs his production. Nothing is powered.
He has one Stargate across the map, and I think one Oracle. But even Oracles run out of energy, man.
They run out of energy. We still have 3 Stalkers to defend for ArT. He does have one pylon on the way. No, he doesn't. It was a shield battery. He only just now starts the pylon.
He has no gateway. He has no gateway. He has no gateway. It's still being researched, and it's still not powered. He has one.
Yeah, okay, the one gateway finally gets repowered. What is happening this game? But NightMare still has numbers. He's breaking on through. He's getting on top of the army, and this may just be it.
This is looking like way too much momentum for NightMare. I mean, one shield battery could finish up here for ArT.
I mean,
but I doubt it's going to be enough.
And across the map, that one Oracle, it's ran out of energy. It did kill a lot of probes, but that's all it can do. Only a handful of probes. The Stalkers keep on breaking on forward, and I think this is just kind of a build order win. Like, NightMare, he's just depowered all the production of ArT.
We talked about coin flips, and honestly, so far in this series, we didn't get too many of them. In the ace match, when everything is on the line, NightMare takes a gamble, and he wins big. He wins huge.
He does win huge, mate. ArT gambled with the proxy Stargate. It's not going to help out. We do have a Void Ray finishing up, but look how far it has to travel to come back home. And by the time it does come back home, there's going to be nothing left.
Yeah, and let's not forget, NightMare can continue to produce Stalkers. If the Stalkers are able to get on top of the Void Ray, and if they get their burst damage down, that's going to be it. That's going to be all the damage That's going to be all the damage dealers gone for ArT.
Yeah, speaking of everything being gone, every single probe is gone. We have one Void Ray remaining here for ArT. One Void Ray and one probe.
Could ArT potentially go for the, what's it called? building killing.
The elimination?
Is that the elimination? Is that feasible?
I mean, we still have mining. This is the problem. We still have mining. We do have one Oracle, and we do have one Void Ray. We have a second Void Ray now, actually.
That's unfortunate, but at least he is going to be able to deal with this one proxy. 2 Void Rays out now, so it's not... The Stalkers aren't as scary.
Yeah, he's gonna be able to clean this up, but we have 7 Stalkers here, mate. I mean, 2 of them do get pulled away, so maybe ArT is hoping to out-micro this. The Oracle does regenerate its energy, and he's gonna be able to take down every single probe across the map for NightMare, so both players have 0 mining right now. It's just 8 Stalkers against 2 Void Rays.
I think there may potentially be a chance here for ArT still.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta give NightMare the advantage, but... I don't know, I can see it as a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, there is a proxy Stargate, but NightMare sees it because ArT has been revealed. Yeah, ArT is going to try and kill this Nexus. There is 0 mining for both players.
Build another probe.
Yeah, but NightMare, he's going in that direction. ArT only has a handful of buildings left. Like, ArT has to hold on to this pylon.
Yeah, I mean, could he force a tie?
No.
Could he force a tie?
We know what's Terran here, mate. No one can lift up. What are you on about, mate? Oh my god.
It's kind of a game of chicken right now. Neither player wants to make one false move and expose too much of their army to too much at once. This one Zealot is so valuable right now for NightMare, man.
Yeah.
It's scouting, it's forcing shots off from these Void Rays. These Void Rays actually don't do that much damage against the Zealot.
Oh my god! We have a stasis trap! We have a stasis trap! We have a stasis trap,
dude, debate! Come on!
Oh.
Yes! Bait him in! Bait him in! Bait him in!
Bait him in! Oh, the Zealots!
The Zealot zone! Aww. And with that, I don't think ArT has a shot anymore in this game. GG is called, and NightMare is gonna give everyone a nightmare tonight. I swear to God. I'm gonna wake up at 4 a.m. You're like, proxy. He will continue his dominance as the Protoss player to fear in Sparkling Tuna Cup. Man, what a map to end it on. What a way to end this. To end a fully played best of 5, all 5 maps played out, and we have a proxy versus a proxy in the last one. That came down to just a couple of buildings.
It did come down to a couple of buildings. 0 mining for both players. Again, though, NightMare had a massive advantage because one proxy was better than the other. Unfortunately, it can happen sometimes in those kind of games. It's wild that it was the wildest thing for me is that there was the ace match and both players decided to proxy.
Yep.
In the ace match, mate. In the ace match, no fear for ArT or NightMare, but GG gets called in the end. The favorite still comes out on top. It wasn't easy, though. It wasn't an easy road to victory, but congratulations to NightMare.
Yeah, again, it went all the way to the ace match there. That's really a testament, I think, to how evenly matched these 2 players are at the moment, or at least in this tournament. And yeah, like you said, the last game did come down a little bit. There was a little bit. Not that much, but a little bit of luck involved.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, but because our 2 players were so evenly matched, it was enough to push NightMare over the edge.
I mean, imagine a world where ArT had stumbled upon that proxy pylon at the start of the game, you know?
Yeah.
He was so close to scouting
if that probe was just 1 pixel closer to the right side, that... Man,
that could have been it. That could have changed everything, but regardless, GG, well played. Congratulations to our Sparkling Tuna Cup champion of this week, NightMare, and a massive shout out to ArT as well for making that finals as close as it was. Again, there's a reason why we hold him at such high regard. He's an amazing player, and he is also another Sparkling Tuna Cup champion, so that was crazy.
It really was. Regardless, though, I'm really glad to see both of them back here, especially since a week from now, there are qualifiers to be played out.
Oh yeah, the qualifiers will be there for DreamHack Atlanta. Oh my god, so everyone is in tip-top shape, or they're trying to get in shape for the DreamHack qualifiers. We're going to be there to cast all of them, but before we get too ahead of ourselves, Yaku, where can people find more of you?
In MS Word, because my term did start again. But on the off chance I have some time to stream, that will be over at twitch.tv/Yakuzaku1. I'll announce that on twitter.com @EmporeYakuzaku. Other than that, ! Discord. You can find me there, you can find Light there, you can find Steel and the Beck Steam Nap memes there. Everyone's there, for better or worse.
Everyone is there. Oh boy. So yeah, you can follow Yaku there. Otherwise, you can follow me at light_VIP on Twitch and Twitter. But if you just want tournament broadcasts, then follow us on the Cranky Ducklings Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Discord. We are all over the place for all things Duckling related. Speaking of, we have another tournament that's what we're going to jump into. So I'm going to keep this relatively short. But again, thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Thank you so much to all the players that were a part of this tournament as well. It was a blast. I apologize for some of the downtime that we had. Again, you know, Demi unfortunately had some technical issues and technical difficulties. We still were able to play everything out, though, in the end. So hopefully that didn't inconvenience too many people. And for those wondering, we are going to jump into OSC King of the Hill.
Yeah, second week in a row. I don't think I'm going to be doing that, though. I think Kuro will be jumping on you. So we will see you all then. Bye.
See you guys in a couple of minutes. We need some time to get things ready. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Ciao.
Bella.